Cades Cove and the ghost town of Elkmont are probably the most visible remains of the old way of life that are left in the Smoky Mountains National Park. Elkmont, roughly 7 miles from the busy Sugarlands Visitor Center outside Gatlinburg, is a true ghost town with rundown structures that are decaying and returning to nature. Back in the community's old logging days, Elkmont was a resort town for wealthy families from Knoxville, but with the establishment of the national park, Elkmont slowly died. When I think of Elkmont, or any town for that matter, I can't help but recall the words of one of my favorite authors, Percy Fawcett. In his book, Exploration Fawcett, Journey to the Lost City of Z, he wrote, "There's something ineffably sad about a ghost town. Imagination pictures the everyday life of the vanished people, their joys and sorrows, their aspirations and pastimes. When human beings abandon a dwelling, they inevitably leave behind some shreds of their own personalities, and a deserted city has a melancholy so powerful that the least sensitive visitor is impressed by it. With dozens of cabins and structures in a state of disrepair, it's only natural that Elkmont is considered one of the spookiest spots in the Smokies. People often speak of a feeling of being watched while walking around the old ghost town. I can attest to this, as I have had the exact same uneasy feeling myself in visiting, though I can't say exactly why or point to anything out of the ordinary that happened to me. I think it's probably just energy from those old days that's left behind, and maybe even a little residual resentment from the folks who had to pull up stakes and start over somewhere else." Cades Cove is a valley in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park that's a popular destination today due to its scenic 11-mile loop. The loop drive is teeming with wildlife, and one of the best places in all the park to spot bears, turkey, white-tailed deer, and sometimes elk. Cades Cove also holds a number of historic buildings. Cades Cove was once a thriving community. Cove residents were the most resistant in the Smokies to the formation of the national park. But in the end, it didn't matter. Those folks are long gone, and scores of tourists now walk their old home sites. Not surprising, many who visit the old building in Cades Cove say that it gives off the same creepy feeling as Elkmont, that unsettling sense that someone or something is watching. The historic structures that still stand in Cades Cove, such as cabins and 3 old churches, along with cemeteries, are said to be haunted. Witnesses spot floating orbs in these locations and photograph them regularly. Of course, orbs in pictures are viciously attacked by skeptics, and paranormal enthusiasts too, because there are often mundane explanations for them, such as dust particles, water droplets, and even insects. Some in the paranormal community can get quite nasty with folks who post pictures of orbs on social media. While I believe the overwhelming majority of orbs can be explained, I think there are instances in which orbs are a manifestation of the paranormal, especially given the fact that I've seen glowing balls of light on Brown Mountain, and I've witnessed a spherical light about the size of a softball bouncing in the air at a hotel known for hauntings. So I don't understand attacking people over posting an orb picture in a Facebook group. But then again, the paranormal community, along with the UFO and Bigfoot communities, is a nasty, horrible place, and nothing surprises me. At the Primitive Baptist Church along the Cades Cove Loop Drive, some have claimed to see the face of a woman appear on the walls of the building, especially around sunset. I've personally never witnessed this phenomenon during my visits to the church, but then again, I don't have the best eye for these sorts of things. During the ghost tour in San Antonio that I mentioned in the first chapter, a skull-like image would appear on a church building at night. I couldn't see a damn thing, but others in the group did, including my wife. An internet search for hauntings in Cades Cove will quickly lead to the tale of the Cussin' Cover, maybe the most often cited ghost story in the Smokies. Mavis Eastep and her husband Basil lived in Cades Cove before the government confiscated the land for the creation of the park. Mavis was a bit of an odd character. She was deathly afraid of thunderstorms and had an irrational fear of being struck by lightning. I say that, but as a kid in southwestern Virginia, I knew an old woman who would hide in her closet at the onset of a storm. Maybe the fear of thunderstorms is more common than I've been led to believe. At any rate, like many women of her day, Mavis loved sewing, and she was skilled at making quilts. Mavis had a favorite quilt that she called the cussin' cover, made from one of her husband's old flannel shirts. She gave the quilt the unique name because Basil was wearing the shirt during an argument in which he let a few choice words fly. Mavis ended up getting sick, and before she died, she gave her husband her blessing to remarry. However, she stipulated that he not sell any of her quilts, and strangely, she demanded that he not put any of the quilts on a metal bed. Due to her fear of lightning, Mavis never allowed a metal bed in her home. Basil remarried shortly after the death of Mavis. He took on a much younger bride named Truly Jane. Truly Jane did not like the old wooden bed in the home and nagged at Basil to buy a new, larger metal bed. He finally relented and bought a new metal bed. As fate would have it, on a frigid night, Truly Jane used the cussin' cover as an extra blanket on the new bed. This must have upset Mavis. She appeared at the foot of the bed and screamed at Truly Jane, and a few hours later, a lightning bolt found its way to the bed and killed poor Basil. Truly Jane gave all of Mavis's old quilts to one of the East stepdaughters, who later sold them to a collector. Rumor holds the cussin' cover is still out there somewhere.